Disney, stop stabbing people with lightsabers if you don't want them dead. Just for context, this is a lightsaber, and this is what it can do. And just the same, this is what it should do to a human. Okay, now that that's out of the way, here's how to break the lightsaber in just 60 seconds. Start the clock. Now, unless you've been living under a rock for the last couple of years, I'm sure you know how fond Disney has gotten with stabbing people with lightsabers only for a grand reveal that they're not actually dead. But after them doing it 5 times in the last couple of years, it's gotten to the point where it's just annoying, laughable if a main character takes a lightsaber to the gut because you know full well that they'll be back to 100% health by the next episode. Lightsabers are the absolute coolest piece of tech in the Star Wars universe and one, if not, of the best fictional weapons to ever exist. And now it's becoming a glow-in-the-dark baseball bat, and it doesn't help that Disney is too scared of an M rating with their video games to include stormtrooper dismemberment, so when you play as a Jedi and slice stormtroopers, nothing happens. It leaves a couple slice marks on them and they keep fighting you. Eventually, they fall to the ground in one piece, but that just reinforces the light-up baseball bat. All of these fake-outs have me, and I'm sure the majority of Star Wars fans wondering, do lightsabers even work anymore? Did Qui Gon die for nothing? What changed to lightsabers to make them so weak? They were once something that carried respect and power behind it. They were an elegant and deadly weapon, and recently they're just like a whacking stick. Why did this change, and how can it be reversed? I know, I have these questions too. Now, we're going to get to these questions in a minute, but first I want to call out to all of the Star Wars fans to come out and leave your opinion on this video so we can all talk about this once and for all. If you've got a Star Wars friend, send them this video and then hop in the comments so we can all talk about this, because I don't know about you, but I'm tired of seeing lightsabers get walked all over and not have any power. As I'm sure many of you know, this rant/discussion has been sparked from the recent incident in the Ahsoka show. I'd say spoilers if you haven't seen it yet, but I'm not spoiling anything. Anyone that knows Sabine is a main character knows that she's not dying in the first episode. This is why everyone is finally saying something. Disney has been doing this for years in the movies and in Kenobi, and it's finally caught up with them. Sabine goes up against a dark apprentice and gets stabbed in the gut just like Darth Maul did to Qui Gon. But the next episode, she's back to full health without any consequences. No cyborg stomach replacement or shock-induced coma for a week, she's just better without any explanation. Disney has done this so many times with so many of their characters that it's not only tarnishing the potency, the danger of getting hit with a lightsaber, but it's also making us care less about the well-being of the main characters. They could take a Death Star firing on them point blank if Disney wanted them to. Lightsabers used to be stronger than plot armor. Even main characters were in danger of getting killed off if they made a wrong move and lost to a saber. But that's not the case anymore. Disney has a switch that they turn on and off, making lightsabers effective or not based on what's convenient for the plot. It's fine if you want these main characters to continue living in the show, just stop stabbing them with lightsabers. Because you keep doing that, not only do we not actually get scared that the character might die or not, but you're also making the lightsaber weaker and weaker with each stab. It's becoming something not as powerful and deadly as it once was.
So uncivilized.
Which is a shame. The lightsaber is the coolest piece of tech in Star Wars. I don't like how it's being portrayed recently. Before we get into how this all started, I just want to clarify something real quick. In this video, this discussion, I only want to talk about lightsaber stab wounds. If lightsabers do this to heavy metal blast doors, then they should 100% be a death blow if you get stabbed in the gut by one. That's why everyone's freaking out. It's totally believable to survive other lightsaber wounds because you can argue that it cauterized the wound. You can lose a hand, you can lose an arm and live on. You can have a lightsaber graze you and it's not the end of the world. Yeah, it's going to hurt, but suck it up, kid, you'll live. But getting stabbed in the gut and having your organs be cooked instantly should always be a fatal death blow, or at the very least, it should have life-altering consequences if they're going to survive it, and even then it's iffy. Also, if you want to leave your personal vote on if you think a lightsaber stab should kill someone, you can go to my community page and there will be a little poll where you personally can cast your vote. Go for it, let your voice be heard, I'm curious. And if you're enjoying the video or agree with how fatal lightsabers should be, consider subscribing and sharing this video with your Star Wars friends. Maybe if enough commotion is made and they see enough of the community speaking up about it, something will will change, it'd be nice to see lightsabers become a weapon to be scared of once again. Now, back to what I was saying. This all started back in 2019 with the release of The Rise of Skywalker.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
There's a lot wrong with this movie, but I guess this is now one of the biggest things besides Palp's returning just because of its long-term effects it had on the lightsaber. A little over halfway into the movie, Kylo Ren eventually catches up to Rey on the moon of Endor in the middle of the Death Star wreckage and challenges her. They start fighting and wildly flailing their lightsabers back and forth in the middle of the ocean with waves crashing down on them. This goes on for a bit until Kylo Ren has Rey on the ground defeated, and as he raises up his hand to kill her, he stops and senses his mother, Leia, reaching out to him, getting ready to die. He turns off his saber and looks off in the distance as he feels his mother passing away. Rey grabs his lightsaber as it's falling from his hand and stabs him when he's not paying attention. Then she senses it too. She starts crying, and basically to say, "I'm sorry your mother died," she uses her new force healing ability that she just adapted into having to fix Kylo's stab wound. I think maybe it was because she saw him as Ben Solo when he sensed Leia died, or maybe after Rey felt it. I don't know. Nonetheless, the first time I saw Disney do this, I was like, what? For real? We can just force heal whoever we want now? How did any Jedi die before? Rey hasn't even had proper Jedi training. In fact, she's not even real. She's the daughter of a failed clone. A clone that was deemed a failure because he wasn't strong enough with midichlorians to hold Palpatine's essence as his new body, but then he had a human child, Rey, that got just as many midichlorians as Palps has. How does any of that make sense? Next, we saw it overused 3 separate times in Kenobi. Not only does Reva stab the Grand Inquisitor and he comes back to life the next episode, but Reva herself gets stabbed. Twice by Lord Vader. Once when she was just a youngling and Anakin Order 66'd all the children.
Master Skywalker.
Then again when she was being an adult failure. Not only is it making lightsabers look weak, but now Vader. Vader should be the baddest, most scary guy in all of Star Wars, and now there's a little kid out there that survived him killing her. No idea how that happened, and she grew up to get stabbed again by Vader and he still couldn't kill her. What the heck is that?
I don't know.
It's taking away validity from Vader now and without any explanation. I don't know how anyone didn't shake their head at this. Now we're dealing with it in Ahsoka. Sabine Wren, a normal human being, gets stabbed in the gut with a lightsaber and is back to full health without any explanation in a day. How have lightsabers lost their potency this much? And I'm worried that this plot armor against lightsabers is only just gonna get worse. They kill people with lightsabers when it's convenient for them, but that's not how lightsabers should work. They shouldn't have to bend to plot armor. Hashtag make lightsabers lethal again. Can you imagine if Qui Gon survived? Can you imagine if Agent Kalor survived being stabbed by Palpatine? What about Shak Ti? All those different times.
What is it, Skywalker?
You'll learn that soon enough.
What about all the people Anakin got around to stabbing? The Separatists, the Mandalore terrorists. What about this clone? And this clone? And this clone? You know what? I'm just gonna play all the clips of everyone who's ever gotten stabbed by a lightsaber because, you know what? Every time we saw each and every one of these lightsaber stabs, not once did we have to question if any of them survived. You know why? Because it's a lightsaber and they just got stabbed. They're dead now. There's no other way around it. So to have Disney take all of these and throw them in the trash, it's just hard to sit through. And just in the last 15 months, there's been 4 main character lightsaber stabs that have survived. That's 4 too many. Can you imagine if all of these people survived? It'd make us wonder why they're even still fighting with lightsabers. It seems like blasters are more dangerous. Should I keep going? Okay, fine, I'll keep them going. I mean, the list just goes on. And you know, the only reason Disney is doing it is for the shock value. They're trying to elicit some kind of emotion from us while watching their shows, their movies. They want people to be on the edge of their seats and tell their friends about it and have something big to talk about. But if they just wrote compelling stories, they could make their own twists and turns that don't have us rolling our eyes each time. Yeah, I'm still going to watch Ahsoka, I just want them to stop stabbing people with lightsabers if they don't want them to die. Now, I want to address probably the biggest anti-stab death argument that someone could bring up and tell you why it's an example of how it could be done the right way. The instance we'll use as the acceptable case for dying and surviving will be Darth Maul. Maul was literally sliced in half by Obi-Wan at the end of Episode 1 and returned at the end of Clone Wars Season 4. Now, for anyone who didn't know this, I'm sure your reaction would be just the same to our first time seeing this. What? How can this be? Why?
How can this be? I killed him myself.
It is so, I fear.
Darth Maul, alive?
But you know what? They used an entire story around this to bring him back, to show he was fueled by hatred and explain everything going into his survival. They explained how and why it happened, and even when they did this, there was consequences for Maul. No legs anymore. Mr. Maul gets to be a spider, or have robot legs for the rest of his life. They didn't just glue his parts back together. At first, yeah, it seemed a little crazy, but they used Maul being reborn to enhance the story and give us more that we loved, not make us scoff and go, wow, that's unrealistic. They saved his top half and let him live on through 3 seasons of Clone Wars, as well as go into Rebels to train Ezra and eventually come full circle to finding Obi-Wan and fighting him off the grudge of taking his legs, while Obi-Wan wants justice for his master, and it just makes for the most poetic character arc. Maul is an extreme exception, the outlier, and they proved over 10 years how worth it was. But it's not an exception anymore when every Disney character survives for no reason, and that's the problem. Every time Disney has someone survive a lightsaber stab, I've rolled my eyes. It's never been worth it. There's never an explanation. There's never any consequences. They're just taking away any respect the lightsaber once had. It was this all-powerful laser sword, and now I think an actual baseball bat would do more damage. At least they'd get a concussion from it or some bruised ribs to heal from. It now just makes you look like an idiot if you get stabbed with a lightsaber and don't survive, since so many randos survive it. Now, Qui Gon not surviving it is the exception, the outlier, which is crazy. And what really sucks is they're taking away how powerful lightsabers are in video games now too. Video games were originally our outlet to do things not in canon. It was our chance to have some fun and swing a lightsaber around, chopping up stormtroopers as much as we'd like. We have the technology and ease to do this today more than we have ever had before, and we have gone backwards. Lightsabers were more fun 13 years ago in Force Unleashed than they are today in Jedi Survivor. They were more fun 21 years ago in Jedi Outcast. They're more fun with the community-made mods that let you slice your enemies up than they are in the actual games. I mean, even Dark Forces from 1997 had dismemberment. That's what lightsabers should do. That's what they are, right? It just makes me think that no one is ever really dead in Star Wars now unless we see them get burned or their head gets cut off. No one ever revived Count Dooku, did they? Now, like I said before, it's fine if you want these main characters to keep living on in the shows and movies, just stop stabbing them with lightsabers. Start using other things to almost kill off characters. The only reason you're using lightsabers is because it was originally a fatal 100% death incident. Now that's not the case, so use something else. Have them get shot in the shoulder or something, or almost fall off a cliff. Have them get exploded and sent out into literal space or something crazy that literally no one can physically survive. I'm sure that will go over much better. I think the best instance of this, which wasn't perfect, it could have been done much better, but the best time they've ever done it is when they pretended to kill off Chewbacca for literally 30 seconds in Rise of Skywalker. It sucks that they just wanted to kill off all the Legends characters basically for views and to try for some crazy fan reactions. Han's death, Leia's fake out in space, Luke dying, C-3PO's mind being wiped, oh wait, just kidding, he's himself again, and now Chewie. I don't like that they're so trigger happy and doing this to everyone, but whatever. Do it better so it doesn't seem like it's for shock factor. Chewie runs off to tell Rey they need to leave because the New Order is after them, and it shows the Knights of Ren following Chewie, and then a minute later cuts to Finn looking at Chewie captured and being loaded onto a ship. If you look closely, there's a second ship in the background, but he runs up to Rey, pointing at the ship now leaving, saying they got Chewie. Rey grabs the ship in midair and struggles to hold it until she accidentally explodes it with force lightning, leading everyone to believe that she just killed Chewie. And you know what? It's actually emotional. The Force lightning caught everyone off guard, and then you realize not only does Rey have Sith lightning, but also she just killed Chewie. The music, the acting, the tension, everything was on point. It was emotional. She was struggling back and forth with Kylo and lost control and killed Chewie. She looks up and sees more New Order fighters coming. She has no choice but to stumble back to the ship and leave. And the first time you see this, you are processing so many emotions. It came out of absolute nowhere. They fly to an asteroid to hide and just assess everything as Rey comes to terms with what she just did. So as you process everything, they cut to the New Order control bridge and announce that they've captured Chewie. Yeah, in the most nonchalant way possible, they break that it was a fake out. Are you kidding me? Literally the most emotional fake out of the entire trilogy, and they only let it last for 120 seconds. 2 minutes. Are you kidding? It cuts back to the good guys where they say there's no hope because Chewie had the Wayfinder that's now destroyed, but then 3PO pipes up saying it exists in his memory, and they figure out they have to go to Kijimi to find Babu Frick to rip it out of 3PO, and the plot moves on. They accept it, they mourn, and then they move on. There was no reason to show us Chewie surviving so fast. They didn't need to tell us he was alive until Rey sensed his presence when Ren pulled up to Kijimi. Her acting was great, realizing the friend she just killed might still be alive. This is where they should announce that Chewie might still be alive and had us wondering and seeing what was around the next corner, but nope. We already knew that 15 minutes ago because they were worried we'd walk out of the theater. I'm not sure why they did this. They 100% should have just let us believe he was dead for the 14 minutes that the main characters thought he was dead for. This was actually the last time that I thought a main character died in Disney Star Wars. Well, actually, I thought Rey killed Ren later on, but after that, I just shook my head. The Chewie fake out was emotional. The Ren one, I rolled my eyes at. That was the last time I thought a main character died. When Sabine got stabbed, I laughed. She was literally walking around back to 100% health the next day, which is ridiculous. But it's what Disney's programmed us to expect to happen. If they have plot armor, nothing can touch them, not even a lightsaber, even if it goes through them and comes out the other side. My biggest plea and reason for making this video is that they stop trying to fake us out with deaths by lightsaber. Do it with other means, more realistic means that we can actually believe in. And when done right, they'll pull on our heartstrings and make us feel that emotion. It's sad that this instance has me speaking more highly of Rise of Skywalker. Mind-blowing. I don't want the lightsaber to be a bat. I would love to see it eventually become what it once stood for before all the Disney fake outs. What do you think of this? Please write to me in the comments what you think about this, and if you agree with the video, please share this with your Star Wars friends. That's honestly the best way for our voice to be heard. Maybe one day it will feel like it used to, but until next time, I will see you in the comments, and remember, the Force will be with you, always.